Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I figured it was a great time to go through my December income report and discuss the traffic metrics for my second authority website. I gave an update a few weeks ago and saw some really big numbers and was excited to share them with the community. But now that we approach the end of the year, I figured we could really see how well the site did with the Q4 RPMs. And I wanted to make a video and kind of go through it real quick. Not only am I really excited about how December did, but I'm motivated to now pursue growth for 2022, and I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about that today as well in this video. So let's jump right into some of the metrics, what the traffic looked like, how much income the site made, and then the plans going forward. So I did achieve 1,000 articles for the website, and it's kind of changed my game plan going forward for how I want to approach building the site further. I originally thought I was going to kind of build 1,000 articles and just let it sit, make some money, have those articles rank and grow over time in the SERPs, but I think my plan has changed, and I'll also mention that in today's video. So, recapping kind of this journey, it's crazy that over a year ago I sat down and said I was going to put a chunk of money into content and make a big investment and see how it grew. It was my second website, so I had a little bit of experience with my first site of spending money on content, seeing it return income in forms of monetization methods such as ads and Amazon affiliates. But I think this whole project is just really a testament to how putting a lot of money, putting a lot of time, putting a lot of effort into trying to grow a business can really work out. Obviously, there's a lot of risk associated with stuff like this, but I'm really happy how everything kind of turned out 13 months into the project. It's been a great journey. I've really enjoyed it. It hasn't really been as stressful as I expected. Those first couple months were lonely, but from where we got to now, I'm really happy how everything has turned out. And they're all informational articles. I haven't changed that. We're sticking with Mediavine, even though we passed the 100,000 sessions the last 30 days. I'm very happy with them. And word count, so we eclipsed 1 million words in the last video, a little more progress there. I published some more articles. We're at 1,007 articles, and the average word count is still pretty much the same, around 1,035 words. I'm going to stick to that. A good chunk of my content is like these quick 1,000-word response posts where I'm answering a search query on Google. Those articles have done really well. I had one article that got many thousands of views in the month of December, kind of went viral during that month, and the ad income on that article was incredible. I think that one article made over $600 just in the month of December. So it was really good to see articles like that I put, 30, 40 bucks into through content agencies or my writers, and they really, return that type of revenue in 1 month. So going to try and focus on some more pieces of content this year that can drive that type of viral revenue for different months. Obviously that's focusing more on those seasonal posts to help balance your overall revenue throughout the year. If you focus on certain posts that can do really well in certain months of the year, it can really help the bottom line number when you look at the end of the year, as it really kind of soared in that 1 month. When there's some posts that are consistent throughout the year, it's nice to have those few posts that just do absolutely incredible. So that's something I'm gonna try and look at more of, and that'll be considered in my next large content push. Organic search traffic. So you're going to see a few things that are really insane on this chart. A couple days I did get to that 7,000 to 8,000 visitor mark, visitors per day. That was insane. Obviously, those were the viral components of some articles just doing really well certain times of the year. But consistently, I'm pretty much around that 4,500, 5,000 sessions per day level, which is still growth from the last video. I think what's key for this new year is understanding, is there any seasonality component to the site? I really don't think there is. There may be parts of the year, certain days that help the site based on what's going on in the world or what's going on in the news. I think that can help in different aspects, but by no means do I expect a 40 to 50% drop off because of seasonal components of the site. Obviously, I'm exposed to Google algorithm updates just like anyone else, but I don't think anything's gonna be related just to people searching that phrase that much less, where it's really gonna hurt my overall traffic numbers. But it's something I'm gonna keep an eye on for a year. It's something I'm gonna keep an eye on for this year as I start to accumulate data and see a full year of how these articles do in the SERPs. Mediavine earnings, so the income report side of the video, just missed hitting $5,000 in revenue for the month. Now, these numbers are bonkers for a one-year-old website. Do remember these are Q4 RPM, so that's why I did put the $33.11 RPM number there. The site just missed 150,000 sessions for the month of December. If I look at the last 30 days, where I'm including the first few days of January, I am past that mark, which is just showing it's still growing. But revenue was an insane number for December. I remember when I started this plan, my goal was to actually hit like a $5,000 per month revenue mark with 1,000 articles. I didn't think it was going to happen this quick. I don't expect this number to be this high for January. The RPMs just aren't anywhere close to what we see in Q4 and specifically December. But nevertheless, they still are earnings. They're going to hit my account. I'm going to receive that money. And it's just a great motivating number for the site. It makes me see that the opportunities can be really exciting. If I build content throughout the year, I'll really be rewarded in Q4 and December. And that's something I really want to work towards. So incredible number. It really changes my whole perception of this business and how, crazy numbers can be achieved once you start achieving that growth and publishing so much content. So all good stuff, and really happy working with Mediavine. SERP trackers, I do this on all the videos. Feel free to pause it if you want to look at them closer, but it just shows you that it can be very discouraging the first couple months of tracking keywords and looking at traffic metrics. And you can see those on my past videos as I've done updates throughout the year of 2021 when the site was really slow in the beginning. But just kind of looking through some of these, the traffic growth is really based on how these keywords are ranking. So I usually like to see how the keywords are being tracked in my SerpRobot portal. And it is important to track keywords if you're someone that likes getting caught up in the analytics and being concerned about how your site's doing early on. I think as you actually become more experienced and understand this business better, and you're not really questioning your keyword research methods, and traffic will eventually come, I don't think it's really as important, but I think it can be really helpful for beginners and people that are in their first couple projects, especially when they're investing significant amounts of money and time into their content. How are your pieces of content doing? Are these keywords working? Are your efforts and game plan that you have making sense? So I think this is a good thing to do. And now on the screen I have my numbers for beginning of January, and you can kind of even just see the little growth from December to January. I apologize for the noise. That is the New York City noise that is kicking in there. But December to January, you can see the growth. And I had 950 articles ranking the top 100. Now I have 990 articles ranking the top 100. More of that's just me publishing more content, not really old content finally getting in the SERPs. The big number I'd focus on here is I went from 349 articles to 383 articles in the top 3. So that is a good number to see. As that content is aging, it is actually achieving a position where it's going to contribute to the traffic growth of the site. So I'm really happy with that number. That looks good, and that's something that I really focus on when I look at these type of keyword tracker reports. I mentioned in my last report that I had a 12,000 per month keyword volume. 12,000 searches per month keyword that I had on my site. I had an article that I published on December 22nd, 2020. So in the first couple weeks of my site being launched, it achieved a number 2 position in my last video. It's now back down to number 4. If you look really close on the keyword tracker, you can kind of see it just keeps jumping from 2 to 4. And then back from 4 to 2. It's all over the place right now. It's at that 4th position. It's actually getting me a little bit more traffic than it was a few weeks ago when it was at the 4th position. What makes me think that is the keyword is ranking for other long tail phrases that's contributing to additional clicks. So I think while the keyword's sitting at 4 for maybe the main keyword phrase, it's being considered for other rank positions in the 1 or 2 spot. So I'm going to just continue to monitor how this article does and what traffic it brings overall. I'm very happy with it. I've definitely invested a good amount of money in building specific links to this article, but in general, as this site gets older and I think gains more authority, I write other topics related to that keyword, interlink it back to this article. I think that keyword position can continue to rise, eventually maybe stabilize at that 2 position, and then maybe one day even achieve the number 1 spot. I haven't seen any kind of jumps up to number 1 even for a day as of yet, but if I'm jumping from the 2 to 4 spot, I'm sure at some point in the future I can be considered for that number 1 position and eventually win the snippet for that phrase. My Google Search Console chart, and nothing super crazy here. I think it's fairly consistent what we're seeing on the Google Analytics chart. Obviously, the nice thing about Google Search Console is you can see impressions. I think impressions staying around the 200,000 level is going to be interesting for me to kind of document and note. As we go on through the next couple months, that will be an interesting thing to compare to how different months stack up from the numbers I'm seeing now. Is it stabilizing? Am I going to continue to grow? If it does drop down, it's going to make me question whether the site does have some seasonal component to it. But if that number stays the same, I can look at impressions, I can look at clicks. Another thing Google Search Console is going to be important for this year is maybe altering some of the titles of my videos. Altering the titles of some of my articles so I can attract more clicks and potentially bring more traffic to the site by just making it more of an exciting title. All my articles are very informational based. They're not really these clickbaity like titles. They're very straightforward. It's pretty much like what you see is what you're going to get in the article, not much different from that. But there's some other phrases I can definitely put at the end of these titles to make them a little bit more exciting, maybe prove the knowledge on the topic just by saying an extra word or two at the end of the title. I'm going to look at that a little bit more. And that's something that I can definitely build off of from the data that I have in Google Search Console. Backlinks, it's something I'm really focused on, is my link profile and how my site's being perceived on the internet. A really important thing for my niche is having some type of online presence, having some large sources, large websites validate your information. I think it is important. I'm not necessarily in one of those like your money, your life type of niches. I think I'm just outside of that, but I'm also not in a complete hobby niche. It's somewhere in the middle. I think it's important that I do more outreach and try and secure more links. While I'm really not focused on building links in terms of my capital, because I do put a lot of my money into content, like 95% of what I spend goes into content. There is so many link providers I have used and have had bad experiences with that I don't really even want to get caught up in too much of link building. Currently, I really only use 2 link providers. It's a guest post provider and a niche edit provider. Both are terrific. The guest post provider sends me a list of hundreds of sites that they can reach out to and potentially secure a link. I kind of check off the links that I like. They reach out to them, and in a few weeks, we try to see if we can get a link. And it is a time-consuming process, and it does cost a decent amount of money, but the links are really good, and it's more of like we're creating a partnership with this website versus actually just saying, hey, let's do a link for my website, and that's really going to be all. I like kind of building a relationship. Google doesn't really like buying links. That's not something I want to get caught up in. So that guest post provider has been really good. The niche edit provider, and I have a slide on the screen with more information about him. His name's John Stover. A lot of people have reached out to me and asked for his contact information. I've been using him for years, but specifically for this website, he's really helped me grow some of the authority for some of my more competitive keywords. And I've actually seen some really good keyword growth from his links. What I like about his links is they're not these like link farm like websites. He legitimately has thousands and thousands of websites that he has networks with that he can put your link on that site, and it looks so natural. I mean, most of the sites he gives me, the site is actually on Mediavine or AdThrive, which is just a good indicator that's like a real blogger, someone really owns the site and tries to make money from it. So I like those links. I put a couple sample links up on the screen that you can check out to see how good his service is. I know it's really important to sometimes validate some of these link builders to see if they're actually giving good links. I think he does a good job with his links. I'm happy to give you a coupon code that he provided to me. It's passive priority. I do not make any money if you place an order through him. He gave me a discount on one of my orders because I mentioned his service in my video, That's pretty much the only thing that we have in our relationship. We're very good friends. He provides tremendous service on his niche edit service. Anytime a link disappears, he replaces it right away. He's just a good provider, and there's a reason he's done so much business before. So if you want to check him out, by all means, go for it. I would personally recommend you reach out to him on Skype before just placing a blind order. I think it's going to prove to yourself his knowledge of the industry. And obviously, I always feel comfortable talking to someone and asking what type of services they have before I just kind of toss a couple $100 his way for a niche edit, link. So check out the sample links. I'll put the order form and everything in the description so it's a little easier to access versus just typing out the link that I have in the slide. Use my 20% off coupon. Make sure you use the coupon. If you can save money, definitely do it. And his Skype username is jstover77. So that's all good stuff there. Now, speaking ahead to 2022, my goals, I've been really focused on thinking about how I want this site to look for 2022. What do I want to see in December of 2022? What would I call a successful year? I think looking back on 2021, everything went exactly how I wanted. I hit the 1,000 article goal. I got into Mediavine. I achieved multiple months of achieving multiple $1,000s in revenue. This year, I want more content on the site. Content's going to contribute to growth. I was so motivated last week one night looking at the traffic numbers and the growth trajectory in my website. I actually sat down and wrote a 1,000-word article on a phrase that I had some knowledge about in my niche. So I was really kind of motivated just to kind of keep putting more content on the website. Obviously 99% of the content that is on the site now, I do outsource it to my team of writers. But the fact that I'm that excited at 1,000 articles that I want to sit down and write a blog post for my site is just an indication of how motivating this business can be when it really takes off. And I do want to express that to all of you. If you have that passion to grow your website where literally if you have an hour one night, you're ready to put up an article, that's a great sign. That's something you should definitely take advantage of. It can be demoralizing writing content in the beginning, but when things are going well and you're seeing revenue come in per article directly to the ideas that you had, it's really exciting, and I love that part of this business. Part of my next large content push is maybe looking to hiring more writers, finding writers that have a different knowledge about my industry that they can potentially help me build out a different category. So I'm back on Upwork. I put some applications out there. I received some resumes and stuff back from writers. I'm going to kind of go through some of that stuff over the next couple of weeks and see if I could bring on maybe another 1 or 2 writers to my team. I don't need anything crazy for them. Maybe if they each produce 3 or 4 articles per week, that would definitely add to my content push. I think I'm not really going to get to the 200, 300 articles per month publishing rate that I was at this point last year. I think if I could stay around that 50, 100 articles per month publishing rate, I think that'd be a really good way to start the year. And obviously I'll adjust that number as the year goes on. I've invested a certain amount of money into this website, and I mentioned that number of $20,000 in the beginning. It's been a little bit more than that, as some content was a little bit more expensive than what I originally was planning on spending. I'm happy I did it. The website, if it's making $5,000 per month in December, you put a 38 times multiple on it. The website's doing very, very well based on the money and time I put into it. So I'm very happy with that. I want to also build more epic pieces of content. So this is going on those 3,000 to 4,000 word articles that have great pictures. They're link friendly. A lot of people like to check them out at their social media. They're more likely to be shared on social media. I'm gonna try and focus on some more of those pieces of content. And the last thing I want to do is acquire strong links, and that's using my niche edit provider that I mentioned in this video, getting more guest posts from really established large sites in my niche. One thing I will say, when you acquire links, there's a few things you want to look at. Number 1 is, does the site receive traffic? Number 2, what is the backlink profile of that website? Is it a natural profile? Is it something that is acquired from being a helpful informational site on the internet? And the third thing is, how does the site look? Is it a link farm-like site? Does it actually have a focus on a niche? Is it have any topical authority that's related to your site? Those are usually the 3 things I really focus on. And if all 3 of those things check the box, I'm happy to pursue that link and create that backlink for my website. All 3 of those things are going to contribute to me building the brand between the large content push, building epic pieces of content, and acquiring strong links. I think that's going to help my site really grow in 2022. End of the year goal is to publish 500 more articles. That's in addition to the 1,000 that I already did for 2021. If I could end the year around that 1,500 article mark, I think I'll be in great shape for the future of this website. It also is going to be interesting to see what type of growth an authority website really sees at the 1 to 2 year mark, especially when it's been front loaded with so much content as the site has. So I think the video updates are going to be really exciting for this year. I think it's going to tell us a lot about how these authority websites do. I follow a lot of the YouTubers, and it's really interesting to watch their content updates and to see what type of traffic numbers they're seeing on their websites, because everyone's kind of at like a different age for their sites that they started. I mean, a couple weeks ago we had YouTubers starting recent sites. Then there's some YouTubers that's had sites since 2015, 2016. So having all this information is great for us as we build our businesses to see what works and how traffic can grow. And I think the most important thing is it motivates us to keep going, because clearly this business model works and it's something that can really be an awesome thing to be involved in. So I'm really excited about the site for 2022. I don't really have a plan of building a third one anytime soon. I really want to focus all my efforts and resources on growing the site to crazy levels. I mean, if I could eventually achieve a month with $10,000 in revenue, that would just be incredible. So I'm going to focus on that. I really appreciate everyone who's followed along for this journey. Be sure to leave a comment if you have any questions. I do want to try and address some more questions as we get into the new year and help you guys with your sites. So anything I can do to help, leave a comment. I really appreciate everyone who followed along. Thanks again.